Oh, hi! I'm glad you can join me for part 2 of my presentation, where I demonstrate how this CO2 muffler works. If you have not seen part 1 of my presentation, where I give an overview of my project and explain how the muffler works on the inside, I would please strongly recommend you go see part 1 first before watching part 2. Thanks. So we just finished putting oil and gas into the motor off camera. Now I'm going to show you how I load one chamber of my CO2 muffler. Each chamber, each nipple and each coupling is its own chamber. Now I'm going to put 100 mesh stainless steel screen into the muffler, and it does not rust. Good, it's in. Now I'm going to put 1/8 of a cup of American olivine powder in my muffler chamber. This is approximately 1/8 of a cup, and during the experiments we are more accurate with our measurements. Now I'm going to put stainless steel wool on top of the layer of olivine. Now we're good to go. Now, in order to attach this chamber to this chamber, I need to push down this stainless steel wool, and now I just screw it on. Now, this is a completed chamber, and I'm going to put this on off camera. Now the muffler's built and attached, I'm going to attach my heat exchanger unit to my muffler. How it works is when I turn on this engine, the warm, moist exhaust runs through this pipe and through the CO2 muffler. Even though the CO2 muffler reduces the CO2 content, the exhaust is still very hot and moist. The exhaust will then run through this heat exchanger unit where the exhaust will be dried out and cooled. Therefore, my sensor can get an accurate reading. If you're wondering how I cool the copper pipes, it is because there's ice in this bucket. Now the heat exchanger is attached, I'm ready to start my engine and show the CO2 muffler in action. Because the engine is very loud, I'm going to explain what you will notice beforehand. When I turn on the engine, the exhaust will flow through this pipe. Because this valve is shut, the exhaust will flow through the CO2 muffler because all 3 prototype portals are blocked. The exhaust will then travel up and into the heat exchanger, where it will be cooled and then dried. Then finally, the exhaust will travel through my CO2 sensor and eventually exit the system. My laptop will be recording the data. I told you it was loud! I'm going to shut the valve now! Now, all the exhaust is going through my CO2 muffler. I am going to collect some data now. See you inside! Thank you for coming outside with me to get some fresh air and for seeing my CO2 muffler in action. Now let's take a minute and go over some data. This line right here shows when the exhaust was put through the control pipes. This line right here shows when the exhaust was sent through the CO2 muffler and the CO2 concentration decreased. This bump right here shows when I increased the throttle in the engine and therefore less CO2 could be captured. the CO2 muffler works, and I plan on working on my muffler in the future and making it a smaller size. Thank you for watching my presentation. I have really enjoyed this ARP process very much, and I would like to thank everyone who has helped me with my project, especially Miss Manwala and my parents. ARP has taught me skills that are transferable that will help me survive the cold and wet world as I'm about to jump into the next chapter of my life. Stay healthy and stay safe.